We are back on MorningLine. Thanks for joining us. Our guest this morning is Peter Geiger. He is the editor of the Farmers Almanac, and I appreciate him joining us all the way from Lewiston, Maine. And yeah, Peter, let me see, just in terms of the way the magazine has evolved in some ways, we were talking about how everything changes. It always has been kind of this Reader's Digest size. You know, you showed me one from earlier. But was it ever a bigger publication in terms of more newspaper or flyer size, or has it always been smaller than this, and why?
Yeah, no, it has always been this size. Here's one from 1938, which will be my father's second or third edition. It was always a 48-page almanac, and interestingly enough, it was only always available when a business gave it to you. A business would buy it, put their name on it like a calendar, and then give it away. And people would keep it, and it referenced it all year long, so it was good advertising. I actually have 6 people living in Nashville who represent my company, which is Geiger, and we sell promotional products, and the Farmers Almanac is a promotional product, and so there are businesses who buy it and put their name on it and give it away. But yeah, so it's evolved, and I'm sitting in my Farmers Almanac museum, and in this room I've got almanacs that go back to I think 1714 or something like that. And some almanacs were religious because there weren't many ministers. Some are medicinal because there weren't a lot of doctors. And so all these almanacs have different purposes, just like magazines do today. But virtually every almanac, if you had a printing press, you printed an almanac and you distributed it. And when you died, so did the publication. There's very few almanacs left. There was one called the Greer's Almanac that the editor passed away this year, and the almanac is now gone, unfortunately, because that was over 200-year-old book. But we're around. I think we're relevant. And as I said, I've really got a dream team that just puts together their videos, and we're on TikTok and on every aspect of social media. But I love the book. I'm the old timer on the team. I really like the book, and I like having a book, and you can read it anywhere. And the other tradition, by the way, is this hole in the corner. I think in 1918,
I was wondering about that.
Yeah, we started to, this copy.
Yeah, there's a hole in the upper left-hand corner.
Yeah, well, so early on, you didn't have bookcases, and so if you were printing, you printed Bibles and you printed almanacs, and so people would stick a hole in the corner and hang it wherever they did their reading. Yeah. And so in 1918 or 1919, we started to do an automatic drilling of the hole in the book. So it's still there. Not many people hang it by the corner, but if you want to, you can. You're still empowered.
I always wondered about the hole. I was like, oh, someone punched a hole in my almanac. But the other thing, this size is great because it's easy. You can almost fold it over, put it in your pocket. I'll tell you, I have flown before where, I like to have something to read that's easy, and sometimes a book. What I like about the almanac is I'll bring this with me on the plane. It's easy to carry. And the beauty of the almanac, too, is that it's not like something you have to read from front cover to back. You just open it up to almost any page. They stand alone, and there's going to be something interesting there. I mean, I just opened this up. I went right to the honeybee thing. Open this one. Compelling reasons to save onion and garlic skin. I'm trying to figure out why on earth I'd want to save those, but I'm sure it explains right there. I just get a kick out of stuff like that.
Well, and I do too. My absolute favorite part of the almanac is the life hacks. I used to call them helpful hints, but now they're life hacks. And I was doing a TV show the other day where if you have iced coffee, or you like iced coffee, so you take leftover coffee from the day before and you put it in an ice cube tray, put the tray, freeze it, and so when you're ready for your iced coffee, rather than putting ice cubes in it which dilute it, you just flip a couple of ice cubes out of the tray and you put them in there, and it just enhances the flavor of the iced coffee. You can do the same thing with lemons for iced tea. You just slice lemons into little pieces, freeze it, drop it in the drink, and it doesn't dilute it.
Yeah,
simple stuff like that.
And it's basic stuff, but stuff you don't think about until someone tells you or you read it. Which, it's funny, we're following on Facebook, and I see someone there is following it as well as we're doing it. Someone had asked the question if the Dollar General version has any more different information than the regular one. And you guys, you say it's just a condensed version, doesn't have as many pages necessarily as about it, right?
Well, we have some Dollar General stores will have the full retail almanac, but then I think they all have their special edition. It's $3.99, so it's a little different price point, and we have 4 different versions of it. So in addition to having the usual calendar pages, it will have fall information and winter information, spring information, and summer information. So it's a different version. It's at all the Dollar General stores, and I think they are everywhere. And so that's one way of getting it, but it's a different version. And then there are businesses who give it away and they have a different version. So we're trying to be a little bit of everything. And quite frankly, when Sandy Duncan first joined the company as a writer, and my father was about to pass away, and I really needed somebody who was bright and capable, and so Sandy joined me. And she lives in New Jersey, and I live in Maine, and I got Frank in Colorado Springs. We can just, because of technology, we can do this from anywhere, but more importantly, we got to be where people want us to be. So if you want, I think the book is like $7.69, something like that. I don't know what the price is. $7.69.
Yeah, $7.69. Yep.
Okay, this year. So and then there's a $3.99 version at Dollar General. It's slightly different, but it has the major stories in it. And then if a business gives you a copy, then you get it for free. And then you go online. You can subscribe online for a year's worth of information. You can get online information and an almanac online. You can do anything. So I just hope people will check it out. And I really want them to go online to the homepage, farmersalmanac.com, and at the very top it says newsletter, and just click on the newsletter. And then every Wednesday, faithfully, you will get a newsletter that's filled with more information. So whereas I used to just have to put together enough stuff for the book, I gotta have enough stuff every week. And so that's where Sandy and Susan and Allison and Hillary and Patrick and everybody pulls it all together. So, but we want to be relevant. So, a show like this is amazing because, people hear it, they can react, they can send us messages, or they may call in. And, we want to be relevant so that we're here 50 years from now, 100 years from now.
Keep going. I think of Farmers Almanac, and I think of it as a uniquely American publication, but it goes beyond that. In fact, there's someone right now on Facebook following us, Carol Ross. She says, I try and find one every year. You do a great job from New Brunswick, Canada. And so I guess, do you also have Canadian versions? And I'm just curious, do you imagine there is interest in the Farmers Almanac in places like Europe?
Oh yes, there's a lot of interest for all over the world. First of all, Canada. We used to have a strictly Canadian edition. We have Canadian weather, and it's online. But the distribution in Canada was getting to the point where it wasn't working for me. So the last couple of years, it's been online, but the weather is there. I get mail from all over the world. A few years ago, many years ago, I had a guy from Russia text me because he was making a recipe in the almanac for his wife. I think it was an apple pie, and he wanted to know what shortening was. And so we went back and forth, and finally,
awesome.
He got it. And then he says, "I'm going to make my wife a brownie cookie." I said, "Well, those are two different things, but here's a couple more recipes." So, people. And there was a spell where I had writing. I am on the State Board of Education in Maine now, but years ago I had a writing contest, and we were publishing the best writings of students, and it wasn't just students in America; it was all over the world. So I think the almanac is a learning opportunity for teachers, for students, but we do get mail from all over the world. I don't do weather for Europe and other places. I'm happy to stick with North America.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. The weather, I think, can be more specific, but the truth is, the information in the Farmer's Almanac, okay, if you're talking about how to prevent lumpy gravy, well, I'm guessing they have gravy just about everywhere in the world, or other basic questions. A lot of this stuff, bees and the like, it applies no matter where you live. That's the beauty of it. I mean, it really is not specific. It's not an American thing. It's a world thing.
Yeah, it certainly is. And of course, people have moved. I mean, we have a big following have had a big following in Japan because so many Americans live in Japan.
Sure.
And this is a piece of Americana. There's one helpful hint or life hack about if you have a squeaky wooden floors, you take some talcum powder, you pour it on the crack, kind of work it in with a brush, and then sweep up the excess, and that stops the squeaking on the floor.
Love that. All right, listen, we have some of those. We're going to take a break, and I just want to give you a chance during the break. I want you to think of a few other little tidbits, like that one you just shared there, okay? Like with the talcum powder on a squeaky floor. Or some of the things maybe that you got from people that really stuck with you over the years, that really stand out among the Farmer's Almanac that you might be able to share with our viewers when we come back, that are just interesting to give them an idea of the kind of things they might find if they pick it up and read it. So not necessarily what's in this edition, but stuff that stuck with you over the years. So we'll take a break and we'll be back. Peter Geiger maybe sharing some of those interesting things that, like the talcum, that's going to solve my problem at home. We'll take a break and be back with more right after this.